Well, it's yakiudon night, so I've got bok choy, a beer, spring onions and bell pepper. Got my udon noodles, ground pork, onions, and then garlic and ginger, mushrooms. That's pretty much it. It's pretty simple. So we'll see how this goes. I spent the whole day gardening, but I'm going to make enough for 3 or 4 dinners, so I'm going to freeze down some of this. So this may not apply to you. And then I've got yakiudon sauce, which is, I just mixed it up in this Barilla thing. It's dark soy sauce, oyster sauce, sugar, mirin, rice wine vinegar, and sugar. That's it. Pretty simple. Since I'm making enough for 3 or 4 days, I'm cooking up nearly a kilo of meat. So I'll put that on. At last, with peanut oil, and I'll a little bit more. Set that aside and freeze it down. And with half the ingredients, I'm just setting it aside and freezing it down in the freezer. Although the freezer space is very limited, so but we'll see. So all the mushrooms and most of the veg, except the bok choy, and that has to be frozen in takeaway containers. So, well, I've got pork, 400 grams each, but because you could use chicken or beef, or prawns or seafood, or just plain tofu. I have tofu in the fridge, which I don't think I'm not going to use that. But anyway. Then I'm using these bacalao containers, but you could use takeaway containers or whatever to freeze it down, or freezer containers. I mean, it's up to you. But if I'm down in the shot, I'm not sure. But anyway, that's what I'm using to freeze it down. And then I have just to stir fry it all together later. So in with the pork. And then trusty spoon. So I have to cook all this until it's cooked, more or less, and then put in separate containers and freeze them down, and then some for tonight and some in the fridge for dinner tomorrow. But all in separate containers, obviously. So my 2 containers ready, one for tonight, which will be dinner tonight and dinner tomorrow, and then one in the freezer for later. And they're bacalao containers, but whatever. So we can give that a toss. Well, we can pretty much take it out now, so I'll zoom out. You can do that. And goes into takeaway containers. Put that up for now. Run about half and half. So it's half there. My cheap IKEA wok. Not the best wok in the world, but I mean it works. It's non-stick. So pretty much equal. I mean, one for freezing down and one for tonight. So next we fry up the veg, I guess. Turn the stove back on. A little more peanut oil. Don't want to make it too oily. Then we have onions and garlic and ginger, which will split between the 2 containers again. And then the mushrooms, probably. So we'll see. I'm gonna wait for it to heat up first. Just testing. Take one and ring. Well, it's pretty much frying, so we can throw the rest in. That gets to fry there until it gets soft, basically, and then I have to do the mushrooms. So I've got a bit of color in the mushrooms, then one more than that. Then I've got my 2 things we can eat, which I'll split the garlic and all that between. And then I have a thing of mushrooms, so it has to be fried and then split between. And then the bok choy and the spring onions go just for tonight's dish. So, and that's how it is. Anyway, if I can not move this too much, and alright, well, there we go. Kind of straight. So it's getting pretty brown. So I have to watch it. But nearly ready for the mushrooms. We'll just have a little bit of pork. Yeah. Need some sauce. Okay, this can go out. Split it between the two things. There's one for the freezer, one for tonight, and then a little more for the freezer one. Oops, house one there. Alright. Okay, still recording? Yep. So this needs to cool off, but that's the frozen pork and the vegetables, least onion, garlic, ginger. Freeze down for next time. So now we have lots of mushies to cook up, and they go in a separate 2 containers, I think. So it can potentially get very oily, this dish, because I'm putting oil in every time. But we'll see. So I have to cook up the mushies. And then this is for tonight, and that'll be 2 dinners, or 3 dinners, maybe. Potentially, depends how many noodles I put in. Noodles come in packs like this. So just fry straight up, no problem. And then spring onions and red pepper, sauce, and bok choy. So, anyway, let's see if this is frying it. Yeah, pretty much. So we can, it's hot enough so we can throw these straight in. So I'll throw the extra mushrooms in one of these guys, another bacalao container, and then the others I think can just stay out in something. I'll find a container. Well, let's zoom in on the dish. So that's pretty much done. So I can add the mushrooms to, I think I have enough space for an all-in-one pot. Mushrooms and veg and meat. and one thing in the freezer. So if I zoom out again, so we'll see. This is for the freezer. Needs to cool down before I put it in the freezer, of course, but these are still, I would say, about a third of the way raw. They're not completely cooked through, but I mean that's fine because they're going to be stir fried. So this looks really good. They're all my ducks in a row. Alright, so for the freezer. Then throw this in there. Just separate. So we have the meat, the onions, the garlic, the ginger in there. Mushrooms here, spring onions and red paprika there, whole bunch of bok choy, and the udon noodles, of course. So turn this back on, full blast. It's only a tiny wok. It's not really much of a wok, but it is what I got at IKEA. So I mean, good enough. So add some oil. Then we'll put our veggies in, then the noodles, then all this, then the sauce, then hope for the best. I'm not sure. I mean, I'm not an expert at stir frying. Certainly not stir frying Japanese noodles. So I think we can put our bok choy in. It's already hot enough. And then we get these guys. Need to open the noodles, obviously. How many packets? 2 or 3? That's the question. I think 2 packets is probably enough. I think we can start putting our other veg in. And our meat and other veg. Our mushrooms. So obviously this is just a small electric stove, but let it heat up, and then I can put in the noodles, and then the sauce at the last minute. And that'll be enough for 2 or 3 dinners, most likely. I might actually put in, well, they're not huge, so I could put in 3 packets, I think. Let's see how we go. We can put in packs of noodles now, I think. Yeah, I should have done them in warm water. So I should have soaked the noodles in warm water first. I mean, that wasn't clear from the packet, but I broke them up. So that's not too good, but I'm soaking a 3rd packet now. So we'll see how that goes. So that didn't work too well. Soaking the noodles, I'm not sure what I did last time, but they worked out fine. But this time they broke all up. So whatever it is. Broken yakiudon Arna version. Too bad. And then I just have to wait till that heats through and the noodles are cooked through a bit, and then add the sauce. So this goes in the freezer now, and then I've got 2 containers for the fridge for tomorrow and the day after tomorrow. 3 dinners. Should be good. So sauce is in. It's bubbling and boiling. I have to watch that in case it doesn't burn the bottom. A lot of sugar there. So anyway. Okay, nearly done. time to get this in the containers. Well, it's dinner for tomorrow. It's still a bit wet. I could have dried it out a bit more, maybe. Yes, that's to cool anyway. Alright, there's one dinner. Dinner and a half, maybe. I think. Not quite. Yeah, I'm not making 2 dinners. This is dinner tonight, and then some leftovers. So, well, got 2 dinners out of it. What are you gonna do? And then a half dinner there. All right, good enough.